Opunaki Primary, we think of the school's curriculum as like layers of an onion, and on the outer layer of the onion we use the James Bean model. James believes in a democratic curriculum, so we use his model to get the children's questions. Once we have the children's questions, we look at the questions and they generally fall into some fairly significant themes. So we generate some key concepts from those questions. Once we have the key concepts clearly defined, and there's usually 2 or 3 of those, we move into the inner layer of the onion where we use the Kath Murdoch model, tuning in, finding out. And that can often be done as a whole school. Some of it may be in individual classrooms. We may work in syndicates. We then move, we found that with Kath Murdoch's model, when we got to the going further stage of the model, we often lost the plot and the wheels fell off a little bit. The going further became difficult because we wanted to, because the children had improved and had a lot more prior knowledge, they then had generated a whole lot more questions. So we decided that we needed to get into a deeper form of inquiry. We're currently exploring a model called the Big 6 and the Super 3. We like it because at the junior level of the school, the Super 3 is very easy to work your whole class together or with small groups of children. Basically plan, do, review. Very simple. At the more senior level of the school, you're looking at the 6 levels, task definition, locating information, etc. If the children have been exposed to the model as 5-year-olds, then we can scaffold and build on those skills so that when we get to year 8, this is really a piece of pie. You've got a really clear understanding of how this model works, and that you can pursue your own inquiry and your own questions effectively.
What would happen if New Zealand birds carried the bird flu?
What if there was another ice age?
What would happen if humans became extinct?
Would it be possible to live on other planets and galaxies if it wasn't possible to live on Earth?
This is the part that people struggle with when they ask us, how do you get the kids' questions? And we've had a lot of trial and error with this. So what we do now is we use the James Bean's questions. What are your concerns and issues about yourself now and in the future? What are your concerns and issues for your whānau now and in the future? We put them in their cooperative groups, and we generally do this only with the years 4s to 8s. The junior school do it in their own classroom, so they sit with their teacher and they go through a very similar process with a slight watering down of the language, but they brainstorm theirs as a class, not in cooperative groups. So with the year 4 to 8, we put the question up, we get them to brainstorm, we give them big pieces of paper, we model. If a student has a really good question, we'll say, oh, can we stop everybody, can we just share these questions with you? When you've brainstormed all of your questions, we want you to choose what you consider to be your 3 best questions. And when we come to plan, we sit down with the post-its and we read the questions out and we say, oh, that one's the space one, this is a health one, this is about looking at issues in Opunaki, this is looking at the environment, and we start to put them into piles. And then we might have a pile of questions like we did last year around the environment, around our concerns and issues about depletion of resources, global warming, quite topical issues. And then we discard all of the other questions, and we might have 3 or 4 neat piles, and those are the piles of questions that we use to generate the key concepts. What do you assess in these units when they're so different? So we've decided that for the unit we will do reflection, and we will do it as a staff, as a group of students, as individual classes. And then for student assessment, we're going to look at assessing the Big 6 Super 3 inquiry model, because we think that will be a component of every single unit, and therefore we can actually have some baseline and we work from that baseline forward. Basically what we think is that the key competencies underpin all of the curriculum at Opunaki Primary School. we don't want to assess the key competencies as an individual unit of work like thinking or managing self. We see that because these infuse right across the curriculum, we need to look at things like inquiry learning and have a look at the process that the children are going through. So if the children are looking at task definition, what does that look like as far as thinking is concerned? If you're defining a task, how are you managing yourself? What does it look like if you're relating to others? At Opunaki Primary, we believe in celebrating the students' successes. The Open Day is used for a number of purposes. It's used to provide an authentic audience for student work. It's also used to engage the Opunaki community in our school. One of the things that the Open Day has helped to hugely overcome is if we want to take our whole school on a trip or a visit, and in the past we've taken our whole school to Wellington, 5-year-olds to 13-year-olds, we've taken 200 children and 50 parents, and we've gone for a week and we've had 6 buses. Now people would have said things like that weren't possible. The Open Days have helped to educate parents. The more parents have seen the kids' work and what the kids are capable of doing, and the real engagement of their students in learning, the parents have become excited about the learning. They want to know what the next topic will be or what the next theme for study will be. They want to get involved. They come into the classrooms. They help with presenting students' work. They get alongside their children. They ask for homework projects that they can do, and they want to have those projects as part of Open Day. The kindergarten has asked to what theme the school may be doing, and on occasions they have presented in the foyer because they have completed a similar theme to the school. And so really what we're finding is that we're getting a whole community engaging in the learning process. We recently interviewed and surveyed our parents and asked what they liked about the school, what they wanted us to continue doing, what we needed to improve. Every single response came back, keep the Open Days going. We love them. We love seeing what our kids can do. We love being in school. We love sharing their work. We really enjoy walking around with our children and our children telling us what they've done in their learning. And the quality of their work with every Open Day keeps on improving because the students have got an authentic audience.